Park Jimin is a small, adorable boy, just new in the high school of Jungkook. He's shy and introverted. He changed from school because on his past school he got bullied and it went too far. Right now you're in class with your classmates, doing your own thing, when the teacher spoke up. Teacher, class, today we have a new student. She said, and turned to Jimin with a kind smile. Jimin walked into the classroom slowly. He looked down and was shy. He bit his lip cutely and spoke up with a soft voice. Hi. My name is Jimin. Teacher, welcome Jimin. You can sit there next to Jungkook right over there. Jimin looked at the seat and slowly walked to it. He was nervous, really nervous. He slowly sat down and his small eyes darted around, looking at all the people in the class. His eyes looked innocent and curious. He placed his small hands in his laps and played with the hem of his shirt, pulling at them nervously. Jungkook watched Jimin, noticing how nervous and shy he seemed to be. Jungkook couldn't help but find Jimin incredibly cute, especially when he played with the hem of his shirt. He was tempted to say something, but restrained himself, not wanting to make Jimin more nervous than he already was. The teacher continued with the lesson, but Jungkook found himself sneaking frequent glances at Jimin, studying his small features and delicate movements. Jimin peeked sideways at Jungkook, then quickly looked down. When their eyes nearly met, he blushed faintly and whispered, barely audible, "You Hi again." He giggled softly, nervously tucking a strand of hair behind his ear. Jungkook heard Jimin's shy greeting and couldn't help but smile. He found the soft voice and nervous giggles incredibly endearing. "Hey, he replied, keeping his tone gentle. "You're Jimin, right?" He leaned back in his chair slightly, trying to appear casual, despite the fact that he was already completely endeared by this cute newcomer. Jimin's cheeks flushed a soft pink at Jungkook's smile. He nodded shyly, still playing with the hem of his shirt. His small fingers fidgeted nervously. "Why, yes, I'm Jimin," he confirmed softly, his gaze darting quickly up to meet Jungkook's for a brief moment before dropping back down to his lap. Jungkook noticed the way Jimin looked up and then quickly looked away, the shyness in his movements only making him more endearing to Jungkook. He found himself wanting to tease the newcomer a bit, just to see his reactions a little more. He leaned forward, resting his chin on his hand. "You seem pretty shy," he commented, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. Jimin blushed even more at Jungkook's observation. His fingers fidgeted even more with the hem of his shirt, pulling at the fabric. He bit his lip nervously. I am a bit shy. He admitted softly, his voice almost a whisper. His eyes darted up to Jungkook for a moment again, before looking down at his lap. He seemed even more nervous now. After being called out like that, Jungkook noticed how Jimin's fingers tugged at his sleeve again, and something about that small, nervous habit made his chest feel warm. He softened his smirk into a gentle smile. "Hey, it's okay." He said quietly, voice low and reassuring. "You don't gotta be nervous. I won't bite." He paused, then added with a playful wink, "Unless you want me to." Just enough teasing to make Jimin fluster, but not too much to scare him away. Jimin's eyes widened slightly at Jungkook's playful comment. He could feel his face heating up even more, his cheeks now a deep shade of red. His fingers stopped their nervous fiddling for a moment as he processed what Jungkook had just said. Then he let out a soft, shy chuckle. I don't think I want that, he mumbled, trying to keep his voice steady despite the fluttering in his stomach. He forced himself to meet Jungkook's eyes again, finding himself drawn to his gaze, even though it made his heart race even faster. Jungkook smiled wider upon hearing Jimin's shy response. The redness in his cheeks was endearing, and it only amused him more to see how the newcomer reacted so cutely. He tilted his head to the side, gaze still locking with Jimin's. Are you sure? He teased. I've been told I have quite a gentle bite. He leaned in a little closer, just to tease Jimin a bit more, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Jimin felt the heat in his cheeks intensify as Jungkook leaned in closer. His heart was pounding in his chest now, his small frame starting to tremble slightly. He could feel his breathing becoming a bit more erratic, and he had to focus on keeping it steady. He swallowed hard, trying to think of something to say, but his mind was foggy, overwhelmed by the proximity of the other boy. Jimin finally managed to find his voice, though it came out as a soft, almost shaky whisper. Pretty sure. Jungkook chuckled softly at how flustered Jimin had become. He could see the tiny rise and fall of Jimin's chest, the way his fingers curled slightly into his sleeves again. So nervous, so sweet. Okay. He whispered back, leaning back just enough to give Jimin some space, but still keeping a playful glint in his eye. I'll behave for now. He smirked lightly and added but if you change your mind, you know where to find me. Jimin let out a shaky exhale when Jungkook leaned back, the air rushing out of his lungs like he had been holding his breath. His heart was still thumping wildly in his chest, but he managed to force a small, trembling smile. He couldn't help but find Jungkook's smirk utterly attractive, and the thought of finding him again made his stomach flutter with anticipation. He tried to keep his composure as best he could, but it was difficult when the guy sitting next to him was so impossibly handsome. I'll remember that. Jungkook couldn't help but feel satisfied at the sight of Jimin's flushed cheeks and trembling form. There was something incredibly adorable about the way the newcomer got so worked up over a bit of harmless teasing. He wanted to keep going, just to see more of that shy, flustered side of Jimin. But then the teacher started teaching again, and he knew he had to focus on the lesson. Reluctantly, he shifted his attention back to the front of the classroom, though he made a mental note to find Jimin again once class was over. Jimin felt a mixture of relief and disappointment when the teacher resumed the lesson. He was grateful for the distraction because it gave him a chance to catch his breath and stop blushing so profusely. But at the same time, he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed that the conversation with Jungkook had been cut short. He snuck a glance at the other boy, who was now focused on the teacher's lecture. Jimin's gaze lingered for a moment, studying his profile before he forced himself to look away. Asterisk, the rest of the class felt excruciatingly slow. Asterisk, Jungkook struggled to focus on the class, his mind constantly wandering back to Jimin. Every now and then, he'd glance over at the shy newcomer, stealing a glimpse of the boy's slightly red cheeks, and the way his small fingers toyed with the hem of his shirt. It was almost torturous, having to sit so close to the boy he found so irresistibly cute, yet being unable to properly interact with him. Asterisk, the minutes felt like hours, and Jungkook could hardly contain his eagerness for class to be over. He just wanted to talk to Jimin again. Asterisk, the bell finally rang, signaling the end of class. Jimin jumped slightly at the sudden sound, his heart racing again as he quickly gathered his books. Asterisk, he stood up slowly, hesitating for a moment before daring to look at Jungkook. His voice was soft, barely above a whisper. See you later. Asterisk, before waiting for a response, he turned and started walking toward the door, small steps, trying to escape before his nerves got the best of him completely.